Next up in the builder category, we have Percy Frankcom. Percy, for innumerable years, tirelessly served the sporting community as a coach, manager, executive, volunteer, and sponsor of hockey, baseball, and other sports, and after retiring in 1959, began devoting his full energy to the Elmville sports scene. In hockey, he coached the 55-56 juveniles to the first ever OMHA championship for Elmville. In fastball, he managed the Elmville Merchants to back-to-back league championships in 71 and 72. He also made the dream of lights at the ballpark a reality. Percy significantly participated and generously contributed to other countless sporting facilities, improvements, and service clubs. But I can't think of Percy Frankcom without seeing him he always wore that hat, and he always had a curling sweater on. I don't know if it was in the middle of summer or not. When I think of Percy, that's who I see. Is he up there in the picture like that? Probably no. So I was wrong. It's with great pride that Springwater Sports Heritage inducts Percy Frankcom into the Springwater Sports Heritage Hall of Fame. Percy, being posthumously inducted with be represented by his son, Ron Frankcom. The presentation will be made by Ken Fay of Diamond Head Sprinklers. Would Ron and Ken proceed onto the stage?
All right, so my name is Ken Fay from Diamond Head Sprinklers, one of the sponsors. This is going to be somewhere between the length of Lou's presentation speech and his grace, so hopefully you're patient. Jacobs, I don't know those of you if you're on Twitter or not, but Mike Jacobs just tweeted that he thought the second speech was word for word a rip-off of Melania Trump's. So it's interesting, actually. I have quite a few stories about this one, but we won't get into the house that we bought that used to be Percy's, but that's still a legal issue, I guess, between us and No, it's interesting. Actually, my son realized early on that he probably wasn't going to make it to the NHL, and one of the things his cousins asked him, if you can't make it to the NHL, what would you possibly do? And he said, it's quite simple, I'll run the NHL. And it made me think when I started looking at a lot of the people that we're taking a special look at tonight, and it's that the builders play a huge role. We play sports for maybe a 10 to 15 year period for most of us. My career was cut short with a fireworks accident to my eye, so I won't be going to the NHL either. Very similar story, but there is, for the remainder of our lives, we all have the opportunity to be builders, and that's whether it's a sponsorship opportunity, a coaching opportunity, or a volunteer opportunity like many of the members here tonight. So it's really neat when you go to even a Hockey Hall of Fame or a Hall of Fame like this and see that the builders get recognized as well. My wife, when we walked in here, made a comment. She's not crazy, but she said if we knew we were presenting to Percy Frankcom, we could have just done it upstairs at home and given it to Percy himself. That's a whole other story that you have to talk to anyone who's lived in our house before about. But she says it's true, and so does everyone else that lived there. But that might affect the resale value apparently in our house, so we're not going to carry that any further. All right. One of the cool things when we actually started working on our house, because it was in shambles when we bought it, we finished the basement, and it was neat because Ron had mentioned earlier when I was speaking with him how he had a workshop down in the basement, and when we take the oil tank out, above the oil tank there was two cool things. There was a sign that said, "Help light the ball diamond," and it was like a fluorescent orange 1972 sign. So I think I gave that to Tim Tom, who probably just kept it underneath the couch. But that was really cool because that was my first introduction to what Percy Frankcom meant to Springwater. The second one was something I found a little bit later on, and that was the official architectural drawings for the rebuilding of the arena following the fire. So I thought that was pretty cool too. So somewhat connected to Percy for sure. not just in the civil suit that we have against the family, but also the fact that he's a builder. I like to think that if I ever do anything in sports, it would obviously be through a building platform rather than an athletic platform. Although I'm pretty sure I could still be Tim Tom at anything. But it is important, so I think that it gives me great pleasure, and I like to see the family recognized as well, to give this award to Percy Frankcom for a builder recognized by the Springwater Heritage.
You're going to be hearing from our lawyer. Anyway, I'd like to welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, tonight to this proud moment in our family's history. I think that this would never be accomplished without the participation of my father, who we are very proud of. I'd like to thank Mr. Michael Towns there for nominating my father, and it's with his work. We've spent several nights together, or days, afternoons, going through several scrapbooks and other artifacts that we have at home there, so it was quite an experience. I'd also like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for recognizing my dad, and I accept that their nomination along with my brother here, who I should introduce because name wasn't mentioned when we were called up. This is my brother Alvin Frankcom. He lives in Windsor, and he is also up here for 2 nominations on 2 teams, the baseball team and the hockey team. So it's worthwhile for him to come from Windsor. I'd also like to recognize my family sitting at table number 9, and also my brother's family at table number 8 there. Also, Jeff and Kelly Archer are back, I think it's number 11. I'd like to recognize them. They're part of our extended family, so we're glad they could make it. Dad would be extremely proud of this. He was very supportive of his family and also his church and the community. He never really realized what he was doing as far as his accomplishments went. Now, they've all been listed here as quite prominent and in the reading material and the plaque and everything else. But a couple of things that come to my mind that I thought was had some humanity to it was when he was arena commissioner, which was one of 3 commissioners. There was himself, Tom McMahon, and Gene Minnings, all who have deceased now. But when back in that day, the arena was old and it was a wooden type building. And Michelle Simpson, she was just in the start of her career. And during several afternoons, when Michelle got out of school or had a period off or something, he would go down and open up the arena with a key for her to let her come in to practice. And so he'd take time out of his day and did that for her. And I always thought that was really something. Also, another little thing he did, which I think a few people might remember here, is on the top of one of the beams in the arena, he liked to honor the Queen. So he developed a fan that was powered from the penalty box. And before the start of each game, for other town teams or sometimes for inter-league play in the arena, he would turn the switch on and the fan would blow the flag, just like you saw on the screen here tonight. And it was just like what you saw in Maple Leaf Gardens really at that time. And he was very proud of that. So he was a patriotic man as well. As a past president of the Elmville Lions Club, he was responsible for many upgrades and additions to the arena, to other facilities in town. He was part of a roller skating thing. He was also instrumental in achieving cement stands for the arena because the insurance costs for the old wooden stands was so high that they couldn't afford to pay for it, and they couldn't afford to lose the arena. So he acquired them from Barry and had them brought up by Les Bertram on a float, and we managed to put them in. At the same time, we also installed plastic boards. In closing, I'd like to say that both my brother and I are very proud of our father. It's unfortunate my other brother, my younger brother, Dell, couldn't be here tonight due to family commitments, but he sends along his appreciation as well. And I'd like to thank you all very much, and have a good evening.